Alright, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. I know I haven't been posting as many videos lately, but frankly, there hasn't really been a whole lot going on in the world of professional bodybuilding. So much so that I was scrolling through Instagram today and I saw that Chris Bumstead got a hair transplant in Turkey, and I was thinking about including that in this video. So I was just going to do a recap of kind of the whole week of stuff that happened because there really wasn't that much on any given one day. And I think the reason for that was the Japan Pro was last weekend, and that was the last Men's Open Pro show of the year until the next year's season starts. Combine that with the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, I feel like there's a lot of bodybuilders that are kind of just done for the year now. And we probably won't be seeing much from a lot of the top guys until like January when we start getting the Arnold Classic lineup and start building up to that show, because January will be about 8 weeks out from the Arnold. But yeah, unironically, the first story I wanted to talk about today was Chris Bumstead and Iain both going to Turkey to get hair transplants. I thought this was interesting because something that I never really considered is if you think about the fact that a lot of professional bodybuilders, whether it's classic physique, 212, open bodybuilding, a lot of them are bald. And one of the main reasons for that is we know that taking gear accelerates and in some cases can even cause hair loss. So one thing I was thinking about when I saw this, and I wonder if you guys have the answer to this, maybe someone in the comments would know, but is it completely counterintuitive to get a hair transplant if you're still on gear? Like, I wonder if it matters if they waited. Well, Iain did wait. He is retired, and I'm sure he's not on nearly as much gear as he was on if he's on anything but TRT at all. But in Chris's case, would it be better to wait until he's retired and not doing as much damage? Because if he continues to compete, continues taking gear, will that just undo everything that he did with this hair transplant? He's going to have to do it again. I don't know. These are questions that I don't know the answer to, but I wonder if you guys have thought about this as well. Now, next up in the news, let's talk about some actual bodybuilding and physique updates. Rafael Brandao, the pride of Brazil, he posted some physique updates where he looks significantly bigger. He obviously looks like he's in the full midst of his off-season. But there's a couple interesting things about this. I think the first interesting thing here is the fact that Rafael said in a recent post that he wants to make a statement this year, and he wants to do 5 shows, including the Olympia. So 4 qualifiers and then the Olympia. That's a lot of shows. Now, the other interesting thing about this is the fact that at last year's Olympia in 2022, Rafael was top 10. He got a 10th place finish. And I thought that was honestly making a pretty big statement for him with that placing. Because I think it would be easy to make the argument that it was a lot harder to crack the top 10 at the 2022 Mr. Olympia than it was this year. There was like, what, 5 names missing from the top 10? So I think when you think about that, and you think about the fact that Michael Krizo moved up from 12th in 2022 to 7th in 2023, and I think a big part of that was there was a lot of people missing in between 7th and 12th from the previous year. You could really make the argument that had Rafael Brandao been at the Olympia this year, he could have been top 6. Krizo was 2 placings behind him in 2022, so he could have, in theory, been 2 places ahead of Krizo this year, if you apply the same logic. So I think we're looking at a very interesting season for Rafael Brandao. And is it going to be productive for him to do 4 shows? If he immediately wins the first show, does he really need to compete 4 more times? Or should he focus exclusively on the Olympia? I think the exciting thing for him to do is to compete in all these shows. I think he's a dominant bodybuilder. He's one of the best. Top 10 in the world at his last Olympia. And based on these updates, he looks like he's certainly put on some size. And once we see him cut down in condition, we'll see how much actual stage weight improvement he's made. But one thing that we've really learned over the past year or two is that Brazil is not messing around. Some of the top athletes in the world in every division are coming out of Brazil. I think at first we noticed it more in the women's divisions, bikini, figure. Now you've got wellness. The Brazilian women were like dominating those divisions. Then we started to see it in classic physique with Ramon, in bodybuilding with Rafael, and now Horse MD, who we're going to talk about next. Brazil has some serious talent coming out of there. And we saw Ramon in classic physique become the first Brazilian guy to break into that top 2 battle for the title. Could we see Rafael in men's open bodybuilding become the first Brazilian bodybuilder to crack into maybe that top 3 conversation? I know it seems a little bit far-fetched right now, but whatever these guys are doing over there is working. And Horst and Ramon and Rafael, they all train together. They're all friends. They're all doing a lot of the same things. So whatever is working for one of them might be working for all of them. So that brings me to the next story that I want to cover today. Horst MD confirmed that he is doing the Arnold Classic Ohio in 2024, which I think will be huge for him. Obviously, we didn't get to see him compete as much as we would have liked before the end of the year. He had to drop out of the last show that he showed up for, which was Prague. And as a result, he ended up not doing this past weekend's Japan show, which I think after seeing that show, he probably would have won. I'm not even going to say probably. I think if Horst MD had showed up at that Japan show, looking how he looked in Romania, he would have won Japan. He would have qualified for the Olympia. I believe that 100%. And that was his plan, but he ended up getting sick in Prague and kind of just called it a year for the rest of the year to try to just focus on his health, which is the smart decision. Now, does Horst MD stand a chance of winning the Arnold Classic Ohio? I'm not really sure. We don't really have a good conceptual idea of who all is doing the show. Samson is doing both. That's going to be a pretty tough barrier to entry as far as winning the title. I don't think Nick Walker's doing it. I think that's pretty clear at this point. I heard a rumor, and again, just a rumor, so don't take it at 100%, that Hadi Chupin might do the Arnold Classic Ohio. And you think about a guy like Andrew Jacked, he said he wants to take a long break because he hasn't really gotten to take a break since he started competing. So if he was to take a long break after the Olympia, I would think that would include not doing the Arnold Classic immediately in March. I'm pretty positive we're not going to see Derek do it. I guess you could potentially see maybe a Bonac or a Brandon. We don't really know when Big Rami's going to make his comeback. He said he was looking at 2024, but really we've got no idea how Rami is even looking. So I don't know, maybe Horst MD is going to be one of the standouts at the Arnold Classic Ohio. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Now, next up in the news, this first part of this story is it's a few days old. So the Olympia has announced that they are returning to Las Vegas. No longer will they be in Florida. And the Olympia in 2024 will be a couple months early, well, 1 month earlier exactly, October 10th through the 13th, 2024 at Las Vegas Resorts World and Convention Center. And this will be, by the way, the 60th anniversary of the Olympia, which is insane to me because I still remember like it was yesterday watching the 50th Olympia that Phil Heath won, and he got that special golden sandow that they made commemorative for that year's Olympia. It's already been a decade since that Olympia. I can remember watching that in college, in my friend's dorm room, actually. And I'm trying to remember if that was the year that either iHerb.com, which was like a huge disaster, they did the live stream and it sucked, or maybe it was the year that Amazon had it on the Amazon streaming services, the Olympia. And I also wanted to show you guys the current Olympia qualified competitor list because this made me laugh when I looked at it the other day because I looked at it prior to the Japan Pro, and it was still just the top 3 from the Olympia. So remember, now only the top 3, if you place in the top 3 in your respective division at the Olympia, those are the only people from the Olympia that qualify for the next Olympia. So you had Hadi, Derek, and Samson already qualified. But you had all these shows after the Olympia that Samson basically won them all. So that list of qualified competitors didn't change at all until the Japan Pro, which Theo Laguerrier won. And keep in mind, this year there is still no point system to get to the Olympia, so all those people that competed basically did nothing towards getting to the Olympia stage at least. And granted, the Olympia was realistically only a few short weeks ago. But in a few short months, we get to start over and just do this thing all over again to build up to the next Olympia. So we've got that to look forward to. Now, the final story that I wanted to talk about today, the latest physique update from Carlos Thomas Jr. Now, Carlos made his pro debut earlier this year, and I think his physique really held up. It really stood out next to these other guys. He looked big, really impressive, great shape, just not quite conditioned enough. He needed a little bit more detail. He needed to be a little bit drier, a little bit harder, maybe a lot drier. But overall, he looked really, really solid, and I think a lot of people are now anticipating his future in the IFBB. Now that we've got all these fast-rising stars like Rubiel, go back to guys like Michael Krizo, Andrew Jacked. Can Carlos Thomas Jr. become one of these guys? Because realistically, we are kind of really in a pretty interesting era of bodybuilding right now, where the shorter guys seem to be doing really well, but the taller guys are too, so it really seems to be whoever just has the best physique, the most balanced, the most proportional. You don't have to be a mass monster. You don't have to be the biggest guy. But the short guys are doing pretty damn good right now. Derek just won. Hottie's number 2. Hottie won last year, but then you've got Samson top 3, and now he's winning everything he goes into. Bodybuilding seems to have gone back to like the early 90s, the late 80s, when the shorter guys that were like 180, 175 pounds were beating guys that were 50 pounds bigger than them. It seems like we have that happening again. This could be a really good time for a guy like Carlos Thomas Jr. to really make an impact. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. That's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. Like I said, not a whole lot of news going on in bodybuilding right now. Hopefully we have some more over the weekend, maybe next week. But as always, I love you guys. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. And as always, love you guys, appreciate you guys. Nick, Strength, and Power. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at NICKS&P. My Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power. My secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.